The history of African slavery. This story is painful to remember, but necessary to tell. Africa, a land of kingdoms, culture, trade, and innovation. But behind its beauty lies one of history's darkest chapters. A time when millions of African men, women, and children were taken from their homes and sold into slavery. Before slavery, Africa was thriving. Powerful empires, Mali, Songhai, Benin, Congo, ruled with art, science, and trade. Villages lived by farming, storytelling, spiritual belief, and family. Life was rich. Life had rhythm. No one could imagine the storm that was coming. In the 15th century, European ships reached Africa's shores. At first, they traded goods, cloth, guns, metal, salt. But soon, they began trading lives. People were captured in raids, wars, or sold under pressure. Families torn apart. Lives changed forever. This was the start of the transatlantic slave trade. Millions of Africans were forced onto ships and sent across the Atlantic. The journey was long and cruel. Many never reached land. Those who survived arrived in the Americas to plantations, mines, and labor without freedom. Their names were taken, their languages banned, their culture threatened. But their spirit? Never broken. Even in chains, Africans resisted. They escaped. They rebelled. They sang songs of home, carrying memory like fire. In the Caribbean, in Brazil, in America, they built new communities. Culture survived through music, dance, food, and stories. Drums beat louder than oppression. By the 18th and 19th centuries, voices around the world demanded change. Activists fought, slaves rebelled, nations debated. One by one, countries abolished the slave trade. By the late 1800s, most of the world officially ended slavery. Freedom was won. But scars remained. Today, the legacy of slavery is still felt socially, culturally, historically. But so is the strength of African people. A story not only of suffering, but of survival, identity, and pride. From jazz to reggae, from soul music to hip-hop, from literature to leadership, the world is shaped by African heritage. Their ancestors endured the impossible. Their descendants live on powerful. Because remembering gives honor, and history, when known, cannot be repeated. For centuries, millions of Africans lived under chains, taken from their homes, forced into labor, separated from their families. But no chain lasts forever. Across continents and generations, a fire began to grow, a fire called freedom. By the late 18th century, the world began to change. Brave voices rose against slavery, voices of enslaved people who rebelled, escaped, resisted. Writers, activists, former slaves told their stories. Faith groups, abolitionists, and leaders demanded an end. It was not a gift. It was a fight. Revolts broke out from Africa to the Caribbean to the Americas. The Haitian Revolution shook the world, an enslaved population claiming freedom, defeating armies, and creating the first Black Republic in 1804. Their victory proved one truth: enslaved people were not powerless, they were unstoppable. Slowly, nations changed their laws. Britain abolished slavery in 1833, the United States in 1865. Brazil, the last in the Americas, in 1888. But slavery's shadow did not vanish. Africa remained under colonial rule, controlled by foreign powers. Freedom from chains became a new dream, freedom from colonialism. From north to south, east to west, a wave of resistance shook the continent. Leaders rose from their people like lions. Kwame Nkrumah called for a free Ghana. Nelson Mandela fought apartheid in South Africa. Jomo Kenyatta led Kenya with pride. Patrice Lumumba spoke for Congo's unity. Haile Selassie defended Ethiopia's sovereignty. Between the 1950s and 1970s, Africa changed forever. Country after country broke colonial chains. 57. Ghana became the first sub-Saharan African nation to gain independence, sparking hope across the continent. Soon came Nigeria, Senegal, Kenya, Tanzania, Zambia, Uganda. More than 50 nations stood up and said, "Africa is free." Independence was not the end, it was the beginning. Africa faced challenges, rebuilding economies, healing trauma, reclaiming identity. But nations moved forward with strength. Music, art, literature, science, culture, a renaissance born from resilience. Today, Africa is not defined by slavery or colonialism. It is defined by survival, pride, and power. History remembers the suffering, but it must also remember the courage, from chains to freedom, from oppression to independence. Africa rose. Africa stands. And Africa's story continues. Loud, proud, unbroken. Slave Boy said, "My name used to mean sunrise. Mama said I was born during the first light of morning, when the sky was golden and the world felt kind. I remember running through the village with my friends, bare feet, red earth, dust like laughter behind us. Home was songs, stories, and warm food by the fire. I thought it would last forever. One day, the peace broke. Strangers came, loud voices, confusion everywhere. People ran. I held my mother's hand so tight. But hands can slip, and lives can change in a heartbeat. I cried for her. Her voice was lost in the noise. That was the last time I saw her face. Children walking in a line, tired but holding hope. Camera close on the child's eyes. We walked for many days. Some of us were small, like me. We didn't know where we were going, only that home was behind us, fading like a dream. At night, I whispered my mother's songs, hoping the wind would carry them back to her. I had never seen the ocean before. It was too big, like it could swallow the world. They pushed us toward a wooden giant. It smelled of salt and fear. I held on to the memory of my village like a small flame inside my heart. We sailed for a long time. Sometimes I closed my eyes and imagined I was chasing goats under the mango tree again. I remembered Mama's voice, Baba's stories of heroes, my sister's tiny hand in mine. Memories were all I carried. No one could take those. When we reached land, the world was different. New faces, new words. They did not know my name. They gave me another. But inside, I kept my true name safe. I said it to myself every morning so I would not forget who I am. Some nights we gathered in secret, whispering stories, humming songs from home. We braided our memories together so they would not break. We were far from Africa, but Africa lived in us. Maybe one day I will return. Maybe one day our children will be free. Maybe one day the world will remember our story. I tell mine so it will never be forgotten. I was taken, but my spirit still stands tall like the baobab tree. Because even in darkness, we carry the light of home. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next videos.